Was a loser, now will be later to win.
This is what the leisure class does. You don't work, you're active, but your activity is about displaying trophies of your prowess, showing off your wealth, wasting money, and engaging in wasteful activities to show that you have sufficient money so you don't have to worry about it, and then engaging in activities that require a lot of leisure, right? Let's look at the middle class. Okay, all the stuff you've been doing with bureaucracy fits this group, all right? So these are people who occupy managerial, technical, and professional positions within administrative bureaucracies below the executive level, okay? So that's the middle class. You know you're a middle class person when you receive a salary. What's a salary? I'm getting a salary. So the salary is meant to support me in my position, right? I'm not actually getting paid to do my job. It's kind of interesting. I'm getting paid to be supported in a position from which I can do my job, okay? It's a strange thing. So I'm not getting paid for my work directly or hours applied. You're getting paid to support you in your job or in the work you do. So again, you're going to get a salaried position. Almost all of you will when you leave here. And it's going to be a strange thing if you grew up working class like I did, where I was paid by the hour and where you were paid overtime if you worked more than 40 hours a week. It's a weird thing when you get a position where your pay is just supporting you and then you're in self-control of your own time from that point. One of the things that happens when you have a salary, no one's watching. This is one of the interesting things about being a salaried professional, is no one's watching you particularly closely. Not to the same degree as you're watched in the working class. Let's talk about the working class for a minute. The working class are people who earn a living wage through hourly wages, right? So if you've ever punched a time clock, you'll know what it is to earn a wage, right? So that's what the working class does. It's paid for time. Literally, this is an amazing thing. And this is actually the way employment law is written. Read it sometime. Actually read your employment contract sometime, if you actually have access to it. When you're a wage earner, you are being purchased for the amount of time that you're on job, on duty, right? You are controlled by the company, and you're agreeing to be controlled by the company during the time that you're on as a wage earner, okay? So you're giving up a certain amount of time of your life for pay, and then you become a kind of empty vessel, an alienated object that can then be spiritually dominated by somebody else to do work, right? So it's a strange thing, and if you've done a wage job, you know about this. I know you know about it, right? So that's what you do. So interestingly enough, working class people are controlled so strongly from the outside that an internal work ethic is often unnecessary and sometimes troublesome. The system is built to maintain what's called time discipline. Time discipline. I'm paying you for the use of your time. I'm going to make certain that the time is used for my benefit. So it's called time discipline. It's the close supervision and close monitoring of action of wage earners. If you're working on an assembly line or a disassembly line, the pace of work is completely controlled by management, not by you. So again, whether you have a strong work ethic or not, it doesn't matter. You can have a great work ethic, but at the speed of the line, you're fixed, right? You can only give that much. Okay. But middle class people are different. Because you're not monitored, because your time is yours to use, you must have a kind of internal work ethic in order to be useful to an employer, okay? If you don't have a strong work ethic, which doesn't mean working hard, it means the capacity to self-direct yourself, to self-manage yourself, to have a kind of sense of judgment about what's important and not important, those kind of things. It's all necessary because, again, you're not tightly supervised. Your time is not tightly supervised in the same way that a wage earner is. So the strong work ethic, the sense that I should work hard, that a good person works hard, that I feel bad about myself, I feel guilty if I don't work, that kind of thing is important in the middle class. Because again, you don't have people watching you closely. Critically, the middle class imposes and enforces time discipline on the working class. So the working class is being controlled, and much of what the middle class does is design systems to control working class people, to manage them, to discipline them, right? use accounting mechanisms and accounting documents to make certain that people are being efficient and productive, so that you can figure out who should be kept and who should be fired, or who should get a raise and who shouldn't, that kind of thing. All right, so you're using your middle class skills to enforce time discipline on the working class and to manage a system for whose benefit? The upper class owners, right? So this is one of the critical elements. This is a sign of alienation of you. It's that you won't be working for your own benefit or even for your own self-defined goals. Your performance reviews will be linked to upper class profit in some way. The middle class does wield significant political power and influence, and they're heavily courted by political parties. The middle class tends to vote, working class and lower class not so much, and to the degree that political influence is courted, again, you're the ones who are. All right. So if there is a sector of the population, a class in the population besides the upper class that has power, it's this class. All right. Now the working class, again, exposed to time discipline at work, earn living wages. Again, workers, laborers, employers, staff engaged in industrial and service production. I would say approximately 30% of households are going to be headed by someone at the working class, not the middle class. Okay? Income may be quite high, which is interesting. Is you can earn $100,000 a year as a working class person. I know several working class people who earn more than $100,000 a year. You work a lot of overtime. You maybe work in a craft or a dangerous occupation. Anyway, so it's possible to earn high income, but there's a tendency, again, in the working class to not accumulate wealth. Many working class households only have modest wealth because of the forced conversion of pensions into stock accounts, something I studied again too. So the wealth that is possessed by the wage-earning class isn't wealth that's available for expenditure like this. It's wealth that's going to help people survive in their old age. All right. Now the lower class. This is what's really important. The irregular, insecure employment of the lower class means that the economic ethics is very different for this group. It is an economic ethics of survival, immediacy. Some writers use the term presentism, a focus on the present, and then mutual aid. But you're just really trying to survive. So long-term planning is out.
I try to phone a friend, my credit's in the red. I tried to skip the fare, ticket inspector's there. No, this can't be right. I live an honest life. It seems like sometimes you don't cross the line.